what if I just don't want any friends? What if I'm just tired of being around people? And at this point in my life, I've been through so many friendships, so many relationships, where I always feel like I'm the one that's giving more, where I always feel like it ends up in some sort of betrayal, someone taking advantage of me. And at this point, I'm just sick of people. No one tolerated more abuse than the Prophet ﷺ, despite who he was, alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Nice people generally get taken advantage of. Honest people generally end up in situations that they regret. And so a question comes up, what am I supposed to do? Prophet ﷺ said, people are like a set of 100 camels. Out of 100, you'll only find one that's good for a journey. And if you think about people, you can only rely on one person out of 100. Now, of course, as time goes on, trust withers, integrity withers. People will constantly disappoint you. The point is to be the disappointed and not the disappointing. People will constantly wrong you. The point is to be the one who is maqtul, not qatil, the one who's killed, not killing, the one who is wronged, not wronging. Because if you wrong someone, your price to pay is on the Day of Judgment. Look, you can get to a point where you're just sick of people, where you start to act towards people, even unintentionally sometimes, with a new meanness and a crudeness and a harshness and a suspicion because of what was done to you. And we learn from the Prophet ﷺ that don't punish people with the pain that was inflicted on you. It's not fair. It's not fair. SubhanAllah, sometimes people become monsters in society, and what's the first excuse, especially if the person fits a certain profile? Well, when they were kids and this happened. That doesn't excuse anything. No one carries the burden of another person. You don't get to inflict pain on someone else because it was inflicted on you. That's not the way that this works. There are ways to seek justice, and Islam has mechanisms of justice. We're not a religion that says overlook justice, but at the same time, when there is an inevitable wrongdoing that has no recourse in this life, we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we seek it in the next life. So don't punish people with the pain that was inflicted on you. Also seek to be the difference that you want to see in people around you. When you read the hadith of the 100 camels, tell yourself, I'm going to be the one camel. I don't just read that and say, Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and indeed we say that, but most people I meet are very messed up people, 99 out of 100, right? No, say, what does it take to be the one out of the 100? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Fi kulli qarnin min ummati sabiqun." Every generation of my ummah has people that lead the way, not just in ibadah and akhlaq as well, and character as well. They refuse to succumb to nastiness and the practices and things that have become acceptable amongst the people. They just don't do it. So he says, I'll be the dependable friend. I'll be the one that's trustworthy. Even if that's going to cost me something of this dunya, I'll be that person. But I won't lose my akhirah. I won't lose my hereafter. And hopefully I will seek something from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the process. Also, subhanAllah, sometimes we penalize people in our lives that come afterwards, that may be just as honest as us or better than us. We all see ourselves as the good people, right? So just make that assumption that if I'm not the person that's wronging and I've been the one that's wrong, sometimes other people come up in our lives and we don't treat them right because I can't trust again. I don't know if I can love again. I don't know if I can move on from this. I don't know if I can establish a friendship again. And let me say that is natural. Allah does not burden a person beyond their scope. It is natural that when you've been betrayed, when you've been wronged, when you've been disappointed, it takes time to build that. However, don't preclude the possibility. Rasulullah ﷺ's loving relationship with the Ansar after the betrayal of his own people, that's something. And yes, he's Rasulullah ﷺ and that standard is there, but you know what? We aim for that standard. It's possible, right? Allah took away from the Prophet ﷺ through the process of Al-Furqan, this criteria that came with the religion, his uncles, but he got Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? He got people like Sa'd ibn Mu'adh radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He got others, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that Allah put in his path as a result. Also, lower your expectations in people as a whole and place your hopes in the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are going to be times that people are going to let you down. We as Muslims, bay'atu Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ala alla asr an-nas shay'a. I mean, that was the acumen, the way that we approached the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I took bay'ah with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam on the basis I will never ask people for anything. I'm going to try to be the person that helps people. I'm going to try to be al-yad al-ulya, the upper hand. I'm going to try to be the person that puts themselves in a situation where they lift people up out of their vulnerability rather than ending up in too much vulnerability myself. I'm going to try to be a person that helps others, that tries to set the standard. Try to not be in that situation where you will have these expectations of people. They will disappoint you. Place your hopes in the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you did wrong, then seek forgiveness from Allah. Don't justify and say, everybody's dirty, I'm going to jump into it myself. No. Hold yourself to that higher standard. إِذَا سَأْتَ فَاسْتَغْفِرِ اللَّهِ. When you mess up, seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to hold ourselves to a higher standard. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be rewarded on the Day of Judgment. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with righteous companions, righteous people in this life that will encourage us to do good. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to pass through the tests in which our integrity is put on the line. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow our deen and our character to remain intact.